It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? King Narukami here, and you already know what the fuck is going on right here. Now I can say it. Persona 4 Golden and Persona 3 Portable are mere hours away here from releasing on modern platforms. P4G on PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series S, Windows, and Nintendo Switch, and also P3P on Xbox One, Series, consoles, PS4, Switch, Steam, Windows, whatever the hell, it's all releasing, and I have some good information for you, whether you're looking to buy the game or you're already playing. Just some things to take note if you're kind of undecided about which version you want to get. Well, I've got some pretty important news that kind of broke today with the reviews, so I'm going to go over the latest information about these ports, what we know about them, and then we're going to go over some reviews here in a second. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I kind of wanted to bring up that's new with these ports, and as you know, Persona 4 Golden had a PC release a couple of years ago, back in 2020, about 2.5 years ago, kind of unexpected, sold a lot, and that's pretty much the antithesis of what we're doing right now. Because of that success, these ports are happening in the first place. So one thing that they're actually adding to these new remastered versions, and it's also coming in a patch for the Steam version if you want that as well, they're adding quick saves to Persona 4 Golden and Persona 3 Portable, meaning you can save at any time. It creates a save state on your console, and you can just suspend the application and then not have to worry about, going to a save point in the game, which is very handy, especially for portable players or whatever. It's a very handy tool, bringing up the 2023 standards, just saving at any time possible. If you're like me, I'm still going to be using the save states in the game, because I like the save places. There's plenty around, and I like to play the game it's meant to be intended to play. But if you want to use this quick save feature, hey, do it. I ain't going to complain. So another thing they are also adding, a new addition to the game, is you're going to be able to change your difficulty at will on P4G and P3P. You couldn't do that in their original incarnations. At least with P4G, you can only do it in New Game Plus, switch the difficulty. And I'm pretty sure with P3P, you couldn't, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're stuck with one level. And if you get to a particular boss fight that you get stuck on, you're pretty much screwed at some point. But yep, that is new. You can also customize the difficulties as well. From what I hear, you can make damage given to you, light or heavy, or damage that you give out light and heavy. All sorts of modifiers that you can use as well. Cool little tool. I think I'm going to stick with normal because I suck at games, and I'm an old man. But we're going to stick with that for me. But it's really cool that they're doing that. And there's also going to be one new feature added to Persona 4 Golden. It only pertains to Persona 4 Golden port, and that's the album feature. Now, what's the album feature? It's a new feature that allows you to go back once you've done your social links and everything. Go back and view the social links, and you can look at all the options for them, and you can pick an option after you've done the social link. It will not affect your current save state, of course. So if you pick, if you choose to romance somebody on your save state, but you choose not to romance them in the album feature, then that you're still going to be romancing them. It doesn't affect the save state at all. So that's a cool feature, especially for us content creators who wants to, go and analyze a character or something and get some quick footage and everything. That's a really cool option for us. It's not going to be for everybody, but this is something I think that they should implement in every Persona game going forward, and hopefully there'll be an update sooner or later for P5 and P3P to add this album feature. So now we're getting into the nitty gritty. So now you're asking, okay, I don't care about all this other shit, King. How do the games run? Well, unfortunately, firsthand, I do not know. I was not given a review copy. Unfortunately, content creators were not giving early review codes. I'm not sure why, but that's the deal. But I have talked to several people in the media about it, and there's been reviews going up, and we're going to go over the reviews in a little bit, but from what I gather, I can give you the performance numbers and the resolution numbers right here. So, more important for me is the Nintendo Switch version. Of course, that's on the thumbnail, but we're going to talk about all versions here, of course, but Switch version to me is priority because that's what I'm going to be playing. So, I can confirm that the Switch versions of P4G and P3P run at 60 FPS. Now, I know what you're thinking, why wouldn't it? You'd be surprised at how many people said that, you know, these games could not run at 60 FPS on the Switch because of the hardware's limitations, and that to me is just fucking... Persona 3 Portable is a PSP game. Persona 4 Golden is a PS2 game at its root. It's just an enhanced version of that PS2 game on the PS Vita. I mean, that's old hardware, guys. The Switch is not... You know, it might be old to modern standards a little bit. It might be stuff, you know, back in, you know, the PS4, Xbox One generation. It's not, definitely can't keep up with the newest graphics for the PS5 and series consoles, but come on, if you weren't expecting P4G to run at 60 FPS on Switch, you're fucking smoking crack right now. All the haters out there, P4G and P3P run at 60 FPS on Switch, I can confirm that. Now, what's interesting as well as, we're going to talk about a review right quick, but in the Mako Reactor's review of Persona 4 Golden, they reviewed the PS4 version and has some information on the Xbox versions. The Xbox Series X are getting native 4K and 120 Hz in their ports. They're getting an actual next-gen upgrade and everything. So, the PS5, unfortunately, is not going to do that. The PS5 version is actually non-existent. It's the PS version running through backwards compatibility. 1080p 60 FPS on PS4, and even if you play it on PS5, no 4K capabilities, no 120 Hz, just 1080p 60 FPS. Great for Xbox gamers, but let me be honest with you guys, I don't think it really makes that much difference. The reason this happened, and I can pretty much speculate I can speculate about this, but I think this is pretty much true. Microsoft gave Atlas pretty much a bag of money for these ports. You could see it in the marketing and everything for the games. It was originally unveiled on Xbox Series, on the Xbox consoles. Pre-orders are only for the Xbox versions and the Windows versions. Microsoft has all their hands on this, so obviously there was something in the contract or something that said that they wanted native ports for, you know, the Xbox Series X, which is fine. Great job. I'm proud of the Xbox players for getting it, but at the end of the day, I don't really think it matters. Like I said, these games are rooted on old hardware. So what if you're looking at P4G or P3P in 4K? Does it really matter that much? The 60 FPS is nice, don't get me wrong, but the 4K, it doesn't really matter that much because these are such old games. They might look a little prettier, the colors might pop a little more, but to me, 1080p 60 FPS, that's enough for me. And speaking of 1080p 60 FPS, the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch versions of P4G and P3P pretty much run the exact same. They target the exact same things from what I understand according to the Mako Reactor. Both target 1080p 60 FPS. Of course, it's only docked for Switch. I'm sure it targets 720 60 undocked. But yeah, they're going to look the same. So what is the point of the PS4 version? Why would you get the PS4 version? Well, for one, if you're not a big fan of the Switch, and I know a lot of people aren't, don't do it. If you like your achievements, go ahead and buy it for the PS4. If you're saying, oh, Persona is a PlayStation only series, well, you're wrong, first of all. I mean, it's branched out, but if you own the rest of the games on PlayStation, and you're like, hey, I want this on PS4, go do it. You know, they said there could be some frame hitches in Switch version, but they weren't too many at all, if there were any. So PS4 and Switch are PS4 and PS4 Pro, PS5, probably going to be very stable 1080p 60 FPS. So if you want stability and you want achievements, or if you don't have a Switch, get the PS4 version. If you have an Xbox, fantastic. Play it on Game Pass day one. 4K, 120 Hz if you have the capabilities of your TV. Excellent. That's great. Hats off to you. Congratulations, Xbox gamers. Now, let's take a look at some reviews for the ports of the game. We're going to be going by Metacritic here. And as of right now, P4G on the Nintendo Switch is sitting at a 92 Metascore on Metacritic based on 14 reviews. That is insane. Great stuff right there. Gaza Geek gave it a 100. Mako Reactor gave it 100. Hey Poor Player 100. Noisy Pixel gave it a 90. I know Game Explain also gave it a pretty good score as well. Katana Riku did that review. Go check it out as well. If you haven't already, did a great job. Fantastic review of just P4G as a whole, but let's take a look at the Mako Reactor review for the Switch. While a lot of people wanted P5 to hit Switch over the years, Persona 4 Golden is what I was hoping to see after its PC release. Yes, it's been 2.5 years coming. That was my first thing after they announced the Steam version. What the fuck is it coming to Switch? So that was my biggest thing right there. Persona 4 Golden on Nintendo Switch feels perfect, and it shines on the OLED screen. For my Persona 4 Golden Switch reviews, I'll be covering how the game looks and runs on Switch, the new features, and more. They go on to say, even though this was a PS Vita game originally, I was hoping the Switch release would target 60 FPS and have crisp visuals. The PC version was a much nicer experience than the PS Vita original. The Switch version does indeed target 60 FPS with minor issues, including some related to frame pacing, and looks amazing when handheld. When playing docked, it has a few rough edges thanks to the lack of good anti-aliasing. When it comes to the visuals and performance on Switch, the new port of Persona 4 Golden delivers despite the minor issues. So even with all the minor issues and everything, the summary of the Mako Reactors review, Persona 4 Golden on Nintendo Switch feels perfect. Having now played this version on all platforms, the Nintendo Switch version is the one I'd recommend overall for the system's hybrid nature, and because Atlus has done a fantastic job with this port, bringing one of the best JRPGs of all time to a new audience. Hopefully it gets a physical release in the future. Very doubtful they're not doing it right now, but you know, all we can do is hope. So of course, we go on and look at Persona 4 Golden reviews for the PS4. 87 score on Metacritic for the PS4 version. There's only 5 critic reviews. If we look at, Push Square, I've already spoken Mako Reactor. Push Square gave it a 90. Mako Reactor says that, see, if you look right here, Persona 4 Golden PS4 versus Nintendo Switch, P4G on Switch is an excellent conversion, a much better port than P5R for Switch. Compared to that, the PS4 version is lacking with no support for much higher resolutions than the Nintendo Switch, even on PS5 through backwards compatibility. The only reason to get Persona 4 Golden on PS4 over Nintendo Switch right now would be trophy support if that matters to you. So pretty much what I said earlier. I didn't look at this earlier, but that's pretty much it. Now, Persona 4 Golden PS5 versus Xbox Series X. They go on to say the PS4 version is lacking, even with its PS4 Pro support when played on PS5 through backwards compatibility. The lack of a PS5 native release makes matters worse considering P5R got one right now. The best console version of Persona 4 Golden is easily the Xbox Series X version with a much higher resolution 120Hz support. When playing on my 1440p monitor, the PS4 version of on PS5 is not amazing. The Xbox Series X version is crisp and runs flawlessly with quick resume support. This was really useful as I kept swapping between Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden to compare things across platforms. The PS4 version isn't bad on its own, but it's lacking compared to the Xbox Series X version. Now that's very telling, considering, it's a shame we didn't get a native PS5 version, but that was probably Microsoft, giving Atlus a bag for these releases. And of course, on the Series X consoles, Persona 4 Golden has a 90 Metascore as well. Very good review, Pure Xbox 90, Attack of the Fanboy. You just saw it on the Mako Reactor. It's an excellent port. Probably one of the best ways to play the game other than Switch. And now, of course, we're going to move on to Persona 3 Portable, which has a little bit lower review scores. And, I'm going to go over that in another video over whether or not, P3P was the right choice. I've seen a lot of reviews, I've seen a lot of video reviews at least say that, the visuals aren't that great. There's artifacting everywhere. It looks like just blown up JPEGs in the background, and it was all AI upscaled, and not even a good AI upscale. So it's all crazy, but we're going to take a look at some reviews right quick. So of course, Hey Poor Player, God is a Geek, all gave it really good scores. 90 for God is a Geek. Mako Reactor at 90. Let's see here. Silicon Era, but there's also some other ones as well. Some other reviews, even by Nintendo Life. By Nintendo Life right here. Persona 3 Portable review for the Switch. They say, now to address the elephant in the room, bear in mind that this release of Persona 3 is based on the PSP release from 2009, which had to be substantially streamlined to ensure everything could fit on a little UMD, which if you've seen those, they don't hold a lot of space. So the PSP was a great machine for the time, but it's definitely shown its age over the years. They had to cut stuff from Persona 3 FES that didn't make it over. The 3D overworld had to be cut too. So watching cutscenes and navigating town like the console release. P3P experience, it says more visual novel with dungeon crawling sections. And they go on to say it's quite dated in 2023 when playing on substantially more capable hardware. They go on to say P3P is fine, but it feels like Diet Persona. Oh man, that's going to get some that's probably going to be a meme at some point. Diet Persona. P3P is like Diet Persona. Okay, that's good. P3P remains an enjoyable JRPG, but we would say this is easily the most skippable of the mainline Persona games on Switch at present. Strong narrative, addictive combat, but Tartarus gets too repetitive visual novel presentation feels lackluster. No FES content, no manual skill inheritance, which to me is kind of a big deal. Hopefully, like Nocturne, they'll patch that in later, because Nocturne HD Remastered didn't have skill inheritance, manual skill inheritance, until Atlas patching it at a later date. So hopefully that comes. I'm not giving up hope yet. Of course, it stands on a 77 on Metacritic on the PlayStation 4, and I can only understand why. At least on the Nintendo Switch, there's a portable aspect to the console, so you're not playing on as big of a screen, and you can't notice more of those artifacts if you're playing handheld, at least not more than they actually are. Let's look at Push Square's review right quick for P3P on the PS4. They pretty much are saying that Persona 3 Portable is still a fantastic game. Its fans still swear by P3 FES then, which suffers from none of the drawbacks associated with the Portable, but P3P is still a fantastic game. They go on to say Tartarus feels a little grindy and everything. Push Square pretty much goes on to say with its watered down presentation, P3P feels almost like an abridged version of the PS2 Classic, but still well worth playing. A foreboding, ominous atmosphere still sells the experience, while the gameplay loop remains as addictive as ever. If you're fairly new to Persona, or perhaps you started with Persona 5, you'll have to persist through some slightly dated design, but don't let that put you off. Persona 3 still stands as a brilliantly broody JRPG. Try to say that 3 times fast. They don't really go into detail about how bad the backgrounds look in this review, so I think that's fair. Some people can stand it, some people can't. That's a whole idea for another video that I want to do soon, talking about if this was the right choice, P3P instead of FES, and how the port is and the backgrounds and everything. I want to do that later on. And also the Xbox Series X version stands at 86 Metascore. We've seen enough reviews, I think. For PC it's at 84. All in all, very good reviews for these ports and everything. They're performing very well for the reviews I've seen, and I think this is going to be a big seller for Atlas. So hopefully I answered some of your questions. Hopefully I helped you decide which version of the game to get. To me, the one to get is the Switch version for the portability, especially for like Persona 3 Portable and everything. That is the way to go, because these are originally handheld games. But hey, if you want your 4K 60 FPS on Xbox, or even 120 FPS on Xbox, go for it. If you have a PS4 or a PS5 and want to play it on there, hey, go for it. I'm not gonna hate on your console choice. If you want to play it on your Steam Deck on PC, go for it. There's not a wrong way to experience these games, and I'm very happy these games are finally coming to modern platforms. It's been a long time coming, but guys, we finally fucking made it. I will not be doing a review for them, probably don't have a lot of time right now, but I just want to go over this news and go over some of the reviews. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like and a comment down below. Comment on what you think of the reviews. If you're going to get it at release date, what platform you're going to get it on, let me know down in the comment section. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more Atlas content. I'll see you guys in the next video. King out.